Morning, everybody. Well, unfortunately, it's that time again. Time to clean the shop. You know, when I do projects, the shop gets a little messy, and generally afterwards I'll clean up. I try to clean as I'm going, but lately with cleaning the other garage and with a lot of the projects going on in the house to get ready for Thanksgiving, the big get-together, my shop's got a lot of junk piled in it. So I'm going to give you a quick view of the shop, and then I'm going to have to shut the camera off, and I'm going to have to clean this place up because it is a wreck. Let me show you. Over by the entryway, we've got boxes on the floor. There's the top to my table saw. It's just loaded up with stuff. Now, most of that stuff has a place. It's just not put there. As we come around, that table's not too bad. It's got a few odds and ends on it that can get put away. Got a frame there I'm working on. Let me back up, and I'll show you the floor. I'm not sure what to do about this, but I've got wire and cords, and I've got my miter saw there, a bunch of blanks on the floor. Those just need to be cleaned up and put away. As we come down through the shop, that's what's left of my cedar bags. There's about 20, maybe 25 or so in there. You can see back here, I've got stuff on the lathe. Back in the back, I've got stuff piled on the lathe. I did bring my sandpaper sorter in here, and I put a couple of boxes on top of it. And the other ones, I've got them sitting on the floor. They're probably going to just stack against that wall for the time being. Let me go back in the back of the shop. I'm going to stop and turn the light on so we can see a little better. Back here, you can see I've got tools all over the lathe I've been using. They need to be put away. I've got a cedar blank here, just a little bit, that I've been roughing up. That's the one I did to get the cedar shavings, and you can see there are still remnants of the shavings all over the lathe. And let's see if I can get that to zoom in. Not really, but all over the floor as well. I've got my daughter's old lathe against the wall. I need to do a little work to that. Buddy loaned me a pipe bender so I can start doing some of my work with the running the conduit in the shop to get the lights in. Back here, can I get some light back there for you? Tons of junk, including shavings all over the bandsaw. My router, I use that kind of as a staging table for CA and for lathe products, and it's a mess. I've got the poster up here that goes in that huge frame you saw back there. I've got a couple extra toolboxes on the floor. Back in the back, of course, I brought a cement bag in. I've got, on this side, I've got all that plywood, and you can see my table. It's just cluttered up. It just needs to be cleaned out. Just a lot of clutter on it. And then my main work table right here, there's a lot of clutter on this as well, and things I've brought out from the house that have been drug in over time. So I've got a pretty big job ahead of me. I think we're just going to start with the things that have a place, and I'm just going to get them put where they go, and then we'll see what's left. You know, I mean, more stuff got added to the shop. Oh yeah, look up top. You can see up there I've put my grandpa's old table saw up there, and then over on the side I've got a couple of those Workmate workbenches right there that I'm storing up there, and then there's a couple of, I think there's a bucket or something up there of some stuff. So you know, I am going to be storing more stuff up there. I just want to get the shop clean enough to be able to show my family and friends when they're over for the holidays. I don't want them to walk in and see it looking like it looks right now. Will I do any work in the shop today? I don't know. I've got a few things I need to do. Depends on how quickly I get cleaned up. Plus, a little later today, I've got to run over to Venue 328. They've sold a couple of my pens, and I've got a new little rack. I ordered a clear acrylic, and unfortunately I was shipped black, and I called Penn State, and they're going to make good on it. They're going to ship me a clear one. Matter of fact, I've already got the shipping notice that it's shipped. And they told me to keep the black one, so I'm going to go ahead and carry the black one over there. And it holds 8 pins. I'm going to get 8 pins on it, and I'm going to replace any pins that are missing. I'm going to take some less expensive pins over there. I got to looking at the list of pins I took, and the average pin was probably about $40 to $45. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I ought to take some $20, $25 pins over there, because there are probably people who are looking and saying, wow, nice pin, but I'm just not ready to spend that much. So let's introduce them to a fine-turned pin, but one that's got a little less of a price. Someone to spend 20 or 25 bucks, it's more likely than spending 40 or 50. So we're going to take a few, they're very nice pins. It's just I don't charge as much for these particular pins because they don't take as long to make, and the parts aren't quite as expensive. So the price is a little less. So we'll get some of those over there. And I've got a Towers of Hanoi game that I'm going to take over. I made a while back in one of my videos, and it's just been sitting on a coffee table for, well, since I made it. So we're going to take that over there, and maybe somebody be interested in that. And just kind of talk to the people and see what customers have been saying about the pens and the stuff that I have on display. So maybe, maybe to give me some ideas for something that I can make. I got a big pen order in. Let me show that to you. This is the box that was on the floor, and I've bought these. Let me get these wires out of here. I got the male and the female end. There we go. And I'm going to be building a Christmas tree for my wife. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. It's going to be made out of the 3/4 inch MDF, and it'll be a half circle or a semicircle so it can lean against the wall. And I bought some LED lights to go under it. And I thought what I would do is, since the shelves are removable, I would use these little jacks. And I got 5 sets of male and female for $4 and I think 68 cents, shipped out of I believe California. And so I'm just going to basically solder those onto the lights, so that way I can just unplug them and pull the shelves off and keep it modular. Let's get the old catalog out of there. This is the black pen rack. It looks just like the acrylic ones, it's just black. I bought a rack here for bottle stoppers. I plan to make some bottle stoppers. I got a bunch of blanks, and I just got a ton of blanks in here. I've got a bunch of seam rippers. I got a few more of the, oh, actually, this is the cool one. I got the over-under pen. I'm going to be making this. Now, this was kind of expensive because I had to buy the pen, I had to buy the bushings, I had to buy 2 drill bits, and I had to buy these little spacers for barrel trimming. So it was kind of pricey, but that's going to be cool. Oh, that's a drill bit. And I went ahead and bought a couple more of the Faith, Hope, and Love pens. I got another music pen I'm doing for a guy. And I bought a couple more of the Faith, Hope, and Love pens. And I know I said I wouldn't buy any more of them, but I took them to the show, and I put 30 bucks a pop on them. And they were the first, I had 3 that I made, and I took the best one and gave it to my wife's girlfriend for her son. I think I mentioned that he had just been ordained as a minister in his church, and she wanted an olive wood pen, Faith, Hope, and Love pen for him. So we picked what we thought was the prettiest one with the prettiest grain. And the other 2, after doing the repair on them, they looked pretty good. So I put 30 bucks on them, which is not a huge price. And they were literally the first pens that left the table. And even talking to the people about them, they didn't care. That I could show them, hey, these pens are, they were like, how come these are less? And I said, well, they're less because they're not up to the quality of the other pens. And man, they snapped them. They're like, they look perfect. So, and actually I was told they would have paid more. There's something about the words faith, hope, and love and the religious symbols on the pen in association with the olive wood that is very endearing to people. And, I had one lady that bought one of the 2 and said that she would have paid, she asked what my normal price would have been. And I said, probably about 40. And she said she would have paid that because the only issue with the pen was there was a little bit of a gap left around the center ring. You might remember that. I could not get it super close because of the tolerances on the center band. And to her, she said, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, which to me, it does. But you and I, the people like us who make pens and who do things like this, we are sometimes far too critical of our work. But I think that's good because when you're that critical, people tend to really appreciate the quality of what you do. So yeah, I've talked way too long. I'm going to let this video go. I'm going to get this shop cleaned up, and I'll come back and give you guys a quick peek at what it looks like. Thanks for letting me just kind of go on and on. We'll see you real soon. Hello, I'm back. I finished cleaning the shop about 11:30 this morning. It is about 3 o'clock now. As soon as I got done cleaning the shop, I went out and I grabbed a pizza, or a couple of pizzas, because my son had a friend over, and my wife and my daughters are cooking feverishly, getting ready for tomorrow. So instead of having to worry about what we were going to do for lunch today, we just grabbed a quick pizza from a local place. After that, I grabbed a shower, and then I ran out to venue 328 and I restocked my pens because they are going to be open Friday, normal business hours. They're not doing the Black Friday midnight thing or anything like that, but this will be a huge weekend for local shopping here in Newburgh. So I wanted to make sure I had a good supply of pens out, and I'm back, and I just remembered I promised to show you guys a shot of the shop once it was clean. So let me start about the same place I did with the initial view of the shop, and I'll show you what it looks like now. Not too bad. I got this area cleaned up. I still have my step stool, which I use quite a bit, and my shoes there. I've got the toolbox cleaned up and closed. Look at my table, man. I'm really happy about this. I got a couple of little odds and ends there I need to work on, and I'll work on those off and on this evening. My big table, it's fairly clean. I've got some bottle stoppers there I need to make. This is a frame that I've been working on. It was over on the floor, but I put it over here. I need to get some polyurethane on it and then go ahead and get it assembled. So the rest of that's in pretty good shape. These are some parts back here for some of the projects I'm doing for my wife. As we go around the shop, let me back up. You'll notice the sheets of MDF that were there. I'm going to flip back around. I've leaned them against the door temporarily to get them out of the way. And you can see my table saw looking good. It's ready to be used. So let's go back. I've got my saw cleaned off. Everything is cleaned off on the lathe here. Down on the floor, I've gotten everything picked up. As we move back to the back of the shop, things are straightened up and put away. You can see I've got this kind of straightened up a little bit, cleaned off the top of the bandsaw. Looking down the floor, you can see I got everything cleaned up down there, swept and vacuumed. Got the lathe cleaned off. And over on the other side, I still have a few things back there I need to get put away. But I got my little cabinets, our drawer units, stacked up there, and they're ready to go. I cleaned this off. I'm really happy. Everything looks really good. The shop is ready to be used. So tomorrow I probably won't use it much because we'll have guests all day. But some of them haven't seen the house yet, and they'll want to go through and see the house, and I'll show them the shop, and it'll look good. But as soon as I get a chance to get out here, I'm coming out here and I'm going to dirty this place up again because I got a ton of projects, and I'm excited about working, and I love to come into a clean shop and work. But you've seen the shop. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the shop tour. And I know, once again, I'm cleaning the shop. It seems like I do that every other week, but hopefully we'll get to a point where we can start building some things, to storage racks and shelves to keep stuff on so it doesn't get quite as messy as I'm working out here. I'll keep you guys posted. Take care, and thanks for hanging out with me.